Good morning, everybody. So, I wanted to answer this question. Someone sent me an email. They're like, well, what is Jilly juice? Well, Jilly juice is an ancient recipe. It is a fermented cabbage juice as well as kale juice that has been modified to fit today's society. And what it's made up of is cabbage, kale, water, white iodized table salt, and then it is fermented down to a pre-digested state, so to speak. It creates lactobacillus, which is a type of bacteria that is very friendly and prevalent to the human body, and it works in conjunction with your microbiome. It is one of many entities that are in your microbiome, because not only do you have bacteria in your microbiome, but you have parasites, you have protozoa, you have proteins, you have viruses, you have fungus, and they all work together symbiotically, balancing each other out. However, what's missing in today's society's diet, as well as in their biochemistry, is the right nutrition and the salt and sugar balance combinations that keep the energy and the system moving the way it's supposed to. Right now, we have stagnation in the life force of your cells at the micro level, and it's translating at the macro level. And this is why you're seeing shortened lifespans, because people are applying the wrong chemistry to their microbiome, and it's causing the inhibition of cellular replication at the micro level, which in turn then triggers fertility because the body senses extinction events coming along. And then once you trigger fertility and you either have a baby or you don't, then the body starts deteriorating because it's not getting what it needs. And what happens is that when a body goes through adaptation processes, it weakens the overall body unless you are constantly giving the body what it needs to be able to support the adaptation process. And that is not happening. And so the Jilly juice is now the missing link to give people the potential to keep regenerating cells at the micro level. And right now you're seeing in the allopathic and the holistic world, people are taking protocols and chemistries to destroy or inhibit cell replication. They're trying to destroy and inhibit parasite replication. And I'm not saying that you should have all these parasites in your body, but there is a balance. And the reason why people have an overabundance of fungus, an overabundance of anomalous proteins, an overabundance of protozoa, an overabundance of viral data, when they have an overabundance of protozoa, bacteria, fungus, proteins, bacteria, virus. Viruses, bacteria, protozoa, parasites, protein, and fungus. When you have an overabundance of all of those things in your microbiome, then you start seeing anomalous behavior in your body. And that's why people take these antivirals, antibacterials, antimicrobials, anti-parasites, and they try to inhibit the growth, but then what happens is it throws the balance off the body, causing then another entity to grow, because what you're doing is you're feeding one entity and trying to kill another entity, and you are throwing the chemistry off the body. And then it becomes then a cycle, a loop that people cannot get out of, and that's what contributes to the de-evolution of the human. So the salts and the sugar, but some people have sugar issues and they have fungal issues, so they need to kind of lay off the sugar a little bit. The salt is what people are missing. They're missing the right amount of salt, which is enough to energize their cells and their bodies to then induce autophagy as well as apoptosis to allow for cellular regeneration. Because when you're holding cells that are very deformed and very malfunctioned, then it doesn't leave room for the new cell growth. And that's when the multiplication of bad cells and other entities in your body start happening and they take over. So that's really what Jilly juice is. I mean, it has the right chemistry to align with the biochemistry. You have to understand what symptoms are so you're not mischaracterizing them and applying the wrong chemistries to it. I mean, animals, babies, humans, biodiversity, they need the Jilly juice. They don't need Tylenol. They don't need all these anti-parasites. They don't need all these things out there that are antibiotic or anti-inflammatory, which people are trying to give to their animals while they're trying to go through this process of an upgrade with this virus. They need small amounts of Jilly juice. They have to go through the upgrade process. You know why animals die, why people die? Because they're not given what they need. They are given things that are actually working against them. And so if you have access to this information, and you see, you know, and you watch my videos and you've watched me on Facebook, you would know that the Jilly juice really is the only thing that is going to help you, your animal, your kids, your husband, your wife through this aggressive environment. And if you keep applying the wrong chemistry, you keep taking all these pills, powdered supplements, and detoxes from the holistic allopathic industry, you're actually going to accelerate the death in your animal and your human and in yourself. But people need intermediaries, I understand. But the reason why the body goes into high fever is because it's trying to kill off infection. But you also need to release the excess. It's not just killing infection. Infection is like an overabundance of bacteria. What you need is to allow the body to get the energizing force, which is the salt and the cabbage and the kale and the fermentation probiotics. And you need to induce autophagy to energize the system to release the excess, release the infection, and regenerate the cells. There's no sense in just giving an animal just Tylenol or a child just Tylenol to reduce a fever when you should be supporting the body to allow it to go through its natural processes. But people are inhibiting the natural processes and they're trying to destroy and stop and do this and do that. And that's why you're seeing people keep getting sick. So if you're wondering like why it is that I'm working out and I eat good, I do this, do that, and yet I'm still deteriorating, it's because you keep working out and you keep putting stress on your body. Why is it that, you know, the people who say that they're so healthy are deteriorating? They're getting older. They're not able to fight this environment because they put the wrong chemistry in their body. And so yesterday I was on somebody's page and one of my haters, who I don't even know, was just like, oh my God, this girl's stupid. She's a total psycho bitch. And she hijacked an ancient recipe. And here here, join my group, my parasite group, my anti-parasite group. And I'm like, you know, you can't be any more transparent. You slam me because, you know, I've slammed the holistic industry. So, hey, I get it, you know, tit for tat. But don't be so obvious in why you're slamming me. All right, my recipe is for free. Yeah, I'm sure your anti-parasite recipe is for free too. But here's the thing. Parasites, protozoa, fungi, bacteria, viruses, proteins, they're all part of your microbiome. You destroying and inhibiting cell replication in your microbiome is essentially shortening your lifespan. But no, people are under the impression that there is something to fear out there. They have to control, and not even control, they have to destroy things that they don't understand. And that includes the Jilly juice. They try to destroy me, but they can't because I'm part of life. They want to live. You can't destroy something that you're actually in favor of. People who are slamming me, they want to live too. They just kind of express it in a different way. So that's why they really can't destroy me, because they're really like me, but they just haven't figured out the right recipe. And, you know, and I don't really hold any grudges against them. I just kind of separate myself and I don't feed into the BS. However, I know that they want to live just as much as I want to live. And they're under the impression that I am what I am, and okay, that's okay. But they know that Jilly juice is an ancient recipe. They know that it's been around for freaking centuries. I just modified the recipe to fit today's version because we have people who are so imbalanced that they're going to need that energizing force at an exponential level, and they'll have to balance it out with other elements like water, air, okay, food, sugar. And that's how it works, because you need sugar, you need salts, you need micro and macronutrition, and you need water, and you need probiotics, okay? And so there is nothing in this protocol that you don't need. Everybody needs what is in the recipe of Jilly juice. And some of you are hypoglycemic, and so maybe you need to add some maple syrup to the Jilly juice. And oh my God, now it's going to taste great. Some of you have kids that may not like the taste of the straight Jilly juice, so maybe you add some maple syrup. Maybe you add some carob syrup. Not too much, not too little, but just enough. You watch and see if they have fungal issues, maybe you don't put any maple syrup in there. Okay? So there are so many ways you can play with Jilly juice as far as the chemistry, because it's not really any different than the IV bags, except that it's better than the IV bags in the medical industry because it has probiotics and micro and macronutrition. The IV bags have the dextrose, which is the corn syrup, and they have the saline, which is salt and water and some other minerals. Okay? The Jilly juice has the same thing and has an extra added bonus. It has probiotics. It has the fermented cabbage and kale. So you're getting a major force of a chemistry, far better than what you get at any hospital. And it supports your immune system. It just doesn't stabilize you like what they're doing at the hospitals. Now you're actually going to heal at the cellular level. But you have to understand what it takes to heal. Pain is involved. You've got to feel to heal. And if you want to be drugged out, anesthetized, then obviously this protocol would not be for you. So, I love Jilly juice. This is the Jilly juice. For those that don't know, this is the Jilly juice. This is my straw. This actually is room temperature because I was trying to drink a bunch of it yesterday and it was so cold because it's like, there's like nothing to it, right? There's no yeast and no excess organic and inorganic material in there. And so it goes down very fast and it gets very cold. So if you're going to drink the Jilly juice, you can drink it cold in little sips, that's fine. But if you want a large amount, you wait for room temperature and then it's easier to drink. I'm drinking coffee right now because I'm drinking coffee. Yesterday I had a little bit of a headache. It was very interesting, a little bit of a headache. My dog, she actually is acclimating very well. It was pretty crazy the first couple weeks, but she's acting very, very well. She gets a little anxious, when she wakes up in the middle of the night and she wants to like get off the bed and do a bunch of stuff. And I'm like, sugar, lay down. I don't have to kind of help her out with the J juice, with the maple syrup or anything. Just to kind of, nope. She'll still get a little bit of J juice in the cotton balls, but not so much right now. So she's doing good, and we're heading into spring, and now where everyone's going under quarantine or type of quarantine, and so I just think that everything is good timing. Okay, so you guys, the Jilly juice is really the answer for babies, plants, animals, and all that. Anyone that mischaracterized the J juice, say that I'm giving it in bad dosage, doesn't understand chemistry. Because if Jilly juice was poisonous in any way, shape, or form, it would be under it would be a controlled substance. Okay? Salt would be a controlled substance. Probiotics would be a controlled substance. Micro and macronutrition like cabbage and kale would be a controlled substance, and that's not the case. This is a food chemistry that was tested in a lab, and it came out to be probiotic, 13 million colony-forming units. Okay? And it's very, very healthy, and it should be the first thing you give to anyone that is in distress. However, if you don't know what you're doing, you call a doctor. But if you're going to give your animals and your kids all these medications, and they're saying out of France, don't give your animals and your kids or anybody anti-inflammatories to deal with this coronavirus. You're going to make it worse. Okay? Do they have a solution? They'll say, oh yeah, vitamin C. Oh yeah, well how much vitamin C are you going to give your kid, plants, and animals? Because at some point, some people will develop kidney stones from too much of the supplements of vitamin C. Okay? So you might as well give them the right chemistry. You have that freaking recipe right here. Why don't you use it? Even in small amounts, it's not going to do anything harmful. In large amounts either. However, you want to start off, slow. But if you have access to the J juice, it shouldn't be the last thing you give to your plants and animals and babies that are dealing with this coronavirus. It should be the first thing. But some of you don't understand the Jilly juice, so it's the last thing you're going to give your animals and plants and all that, and your babies. You give your babies formula, mother's milk, a little bit of J juice. You got everything right there. Your toddler, your kid, you can add some maple syrup to it, make it taste good, right there. So you can't go wrong with the J juice, no matter how you spin it. Okay, and I've substantiated every added ingredient. I've substantiated all of it, so there's no reason why it should be something that you would give last. It really should be the first thing, if you understand it. All right, you guys enjoy your day. This is going to be a doozy of a year, just so you know. It's going to be a doozy of a year. Okay? They're not going to, this is not going to end probably until 2021. So you're in for a very doozy of a year. Just hang in there, guys. We're going to get through it, but it's going to get worse before it gets better. Prepare for that. Prepare your body, mind, and spirit. It's going to get worse before it gets better for people around you. Okay? And so if you're strong about the Jilly juice, and you keep pounding it, hey Melrose, you keep pounding it in people's heads. All right, right now you may have gotten through the flu. Maybe you hope that some of you were exposed to the coronavirus and it wasn't in such a large amount as far as the virus. Like when you go into a crowd and you get such a large exposure to the virus and your body's never seen it, it's like a whole deluge. So if you get exposed to the virus in small amounts in your environment from a person versus a crowd of people, some people were laid out sick for like a week, and so they're able to build up antibodies to handle the environment. And so I'm hoping that was the case with my husband, that he was exposed to it, and his body, made him lay out for about a week to build up the antibodies, okay? But if that isn't the case for some of you, then you gotta let them know that the J juice is gonna help break up the antibodies, disperse them, so that way your body can acclimate to the exposure. And you have to release the excess antibodies. That's the whole point of the J juice. When you have so much fluid build up in your lungs, you have to release it in some way. You have to have an energizing force to release it. Okay? And if you don't, then you will drown in your own fluids. We don't want that to happen. So if you understand the J juice and the whole chemical process, the properties, the energizing force, the whole point behind it, it'll be easier to give people that as an option in the background. Okay? And they will think about it. It'll be there in the background. And when it comes down to it, some people will still not do the J juice. Others will be like, okay, fine. Give it to me because I see something going on. Okay? But it's up to you to know how to describe and explain the Jilly juice in the proper way. It's not a cure. It's not a remedy. It's not something you do at the 11th hour. Okay? It's something that you understand the chemistry behind it and what it's going to do for you and how it's going to energize all your cells. And Melrose described it perfectly. It turns up the electricity in all of your cells, okay? Everything is not so much like on fire, but everything is awakened now. And then some of you are going to have to heal. Some of you are going to have to figure out that you have predispositions that you have to face. Okay? And you can't escape it. The Jilly juice doesn't just go after the coronavirus symptoms, because you're not going to know what symptoms are from the next, because you have so many predispositions. So you're going to have to heal and feel, and you have no other, and you don't really have anything better to do except to quarantine yourself and freaking heal or die. That's basically what quarantine is. You choose to heal or you choose to die. Or you survive. Some of you can heal without the J juice because you're that strong, but you're taken down a notch. it's taking years off your life. So if you had like 20 years, now you have 10 years. Kind of an example. Some of you are afflicted with the coronavirus and other co-infections, and they can't do anything for you at the hospital. So now you're home, riding it out, hope you can survive it. Well, if that's the case, you might as well do J juice and heal. Okay, you might as well live. That's what you want to do, right? Why would you apply the wrong chemistry to your body and you're a captive audience in your own home? You might as well do the J juice and live with the white salt. Get rid of the pink salt. If you have the pink salt, mix it with the white salt. You know, and I've taken 100 pounds of white salt, mixed 5 pounds of pink salt because that's what I had left. And I still get the benefit. And I don't get any mold. I don't get any yeast. And if you do get anything on the top of your jar, just mix and stir. Everything is fine. Okay? So you cannot go wrong with the J juice in any way, shape, or form. You cannot go wrong. You know, Mother Nature, the universe, prepared us for this very year. Me getting into the conspiracy world, you know, back in 2011, 2012, 2011, because that's when I started listening to the Obama deception. It was 2011. And then 2012, I was so deep into the Alex Jones world, you just would not believe how deep I was in. And then I got into the holistic world, and then more of the MK Ultra and all that stuff. And then finally, I visited my parents and promised them I stopped smoking cigarettes. And then I started exploring the fermentation, and then pickles. And then from pickles and carrots, graduated to cabbage and kale. So, and then Melrose had the best energy yesterday. 20 minutes of gut pain poop done. Colors were brighter, more focused. It was the best. Day 2, Joe coming up, went to the farm and grabbed 6 dozen farm fresh eggs for my 3 weeks isolation. Yeah. Good job, Melrose. And then when I had the mistake from 1 teaspoon to 1 tablespoon was when people saw the exponential healing. Okay? So the mistakes that were made in the beginning were actually a blessing in disguise. And, you know, this guy, Chris Martinson on Peak Prosperity, you should listen to him. His videos are very good, though he is promoting, you know, holistic stuff, but that's okay. It's to be expected. He's a doctor, okay? But he was saying that people are so afraid to roll things out unless it's totally perfect. They were afraid to move very quickly with this pandemic, so they were moving slower. The WHO didn't want to call it a pandemic when it should have been called a pandemic a long time ago. And so really, you know, when you know you have something, you put it out there. You know there's some danger, you know there's major indicators that you haven't fully put your finger on, but you know something is up with this. You roll it out, and then you just ask for forgiveness if there are certain mistakes made along the way. Because if you try to roll something out and be perfect at it, because you're paralyzed by the fear of making a mistake, you'll never ever start. You'll never ever get to the next level. So yes, I rolled this out so early. And then, yeah, Dr. Phil, some of what I said probably bit me in the ass, but that's okay, because like anything, you evolve. With the information I had at the time on Dr. Phil was what I had at the time, but it was still very credible and very necessary. And then I was questioned by the government, and then I substantiated the best I could with the information that I had with scientific articles. And then I graduated from even that. Okay? So there's an evolution to rolling something out so new. So no different than when you adopt something new like the Jilly juice. There's an evolution. You're not going to be able to perfect the beginning because you don't even know what to expect. But you understand the gist of it. You understand the science. You're committed to understanding. And then you just do it. And then you just modify, you know, your process along the way that fits your world. And that's the whole thing with the Jilly juice. It's not like a one size fits all. You take like, you know, a gallon and everything is great. Some of you have so many different levels of healing that you're able to deal with that you're going to have to do it in different levels. There's no way for me to tell you how to do it, when to do it, why you should do it. But if you read my information, watch my videos, you'll get the gist of why it's necessary. And then you will apply it and tailor it to your lifestyle and to your situation. And you can't make any mistake with juice because it's just nutrition. It's just food. When you look at the grocery store, when I walked to a grocery store, like in a health food store or a regular grocery store, and you break everything down to its elements, you're like, oh my God, that's sugar, minerals, and acids, hormones. Everything is broken down to fatty acids, amino acids, prohormones, and minerals. Everything's broken down to viruses, bacteria, fungi, parasites, protozoa, proteins. Okay? When you break everything down to its elemental state, you look past the name of the things. It's not Chips Ahoy. It's fatty acid, amino acid, prohormones, and minerals. Okay? It's not red meat. It's fatty acid, amino acid, prohormones, and minerals. Okay? It's just a different combination of the same stuff. But if you have imbalances in your fatty acid, amino acid, prohormones, and minerals, then it behooves you to have a more simpler diet so the body can figure out what it needs. So that way you're not bringing in too much of one thing. But if you are, then the body has now the capacity to release the excess, because you're not going to know how to dose yourself as far as what is missing. So that's why you have the intelligence of the body are able to absorb what you need and release the excess. It's not up to you to figure out how much vitamin A, B, C, D, E, F, and G that you should get. That's what they do in the holistic allopathic world, and they're causing more imbalances. Now you take something like cabbage and kale and fermented with white table salt and water, and then you bring in the nutrition and you eat your regular food diet. Stay away from things that you're allergic to at this point. Okay? Because you have imbalances, and you let the body figure out what it needs to absorb, what it needs to release. Not you, but your body. Yeah, you may be deficient in vitamin C. There's plenty of vitamin C in the J juice. Yeah, you're deficient in fatty acids. Go eat a freaking steak. Go eat, butter. Go drink some milk. You get the hormones in the milk. You get the fat in the butter, in the oil. There is no diet on the J juice. We have graduated from a very specific diet, but I'm glad we did go through that, because that way you know what is in each food. You know that the spices are minerals, heavy metals. You know that lemons are very, very aggressive, very acidic. So you don't want to be drinking lemon water. You're not going to be taking major amounts of turmeric and honey. All of those are great on very small amounts, but never should be used as a remedy where you deluge your body with it, causing more imbalances. Okay, we are halophiles. We came from the sea 3.9 million years ago in a salty ocean. The first protein made up of 10 amino acids came from the freaking ocean. We were born from salt. And then we were built up by proteins. And then we were helped by our environment, which is called the microbiome. Okay? The parasites, the protozoa, the fungus, the viruses, the proteins all built us up to be who we are today. We are a product of our environment. And you have to know how to balance out your microbiome to allow the right cellular replication to happen so you don't trigger cancer, disease, and chronic illness. Because all cancer, disease, and chronic illnesses is an imbalance in your microbiome. And then it creates anomalous cell replication. And that is what goes on when people are overtaken by cancer, then triggering strokes and heart attacks that you don't survive from. Okay? So that's the Jilly juice. That's the short of the long of it, the long of the short of it. And you do what you will with the information. But just know those that are against the J juice have something to sell you as well. We all have our fear, inducing fear, and we all have our solution. Now it's up to you to pick the right solution that's best for you. Am I the right solution? I have no idea. You tell me if I'm the right solution for you. I can't tell you that my solution is right for you. If you like what I had to say and you understand, then you will make that choice. All right. Have a good day. Bye.